Take a look at the phone you're holding right now. Chances are the front of it is made almost entirely of glass. That's pretty surprising when you think about it. Glass is something we usually associate with windows, drinking glasses, or fragile ornaments. Drop one, and it shatters. So why would manufacturers choose glass, the very material that seems so easy to break, for one of the most frequently handled objects in our daily lives? The answer is far more interesting than you might expect. The glass on your smartphone isn't ordinary glass. It's the result of decades of scientific breakthroughs, unexpected discoveries, and a race to build screens that are clearer, stronger, and more responsive than ever before. Today we're exploring the fascinating story behind one simple question. Why are phone screens made of glass? Why not use plastic, metal, or some other material that's tougher? Let's get into it, right here, on History of Simple Things. When the earliest mobile phones appeared in the 1980s and 1990s, their displays weren't designed to be touched. They simply showed numbers, signal strength, or a few lines of text. Users interacted with physical buttons, so the screen itself didn't need to handle fingerprints or constant tapping. Many of these displays were protected by plastic instead of glass. Plastic was inexpensive, lightweight, and easy to manufacture. It worked well because the screen was mostly just something you looked at rather than something you interacted with. As mobile phones became more advanced, however, manufacturers wanted brighter displays with richer colors and better clarity. At the same time, engineers began experimenting with touchscreens, allowing users to interact directly with what they saw. That's when plastic started showing its weaknesses. Plastic may seem like the obvious choice because it's flexible and doesn't shatter easily, but it has one major disadvantage: it scratches very easily. Think about how often your phone goes into your pocket, purse, or backpack. Even tiny grains of sand can leave permanent scratches on plastic because sand contains quartz, a mineral that's surprisingly hard. Over time, those scratches make the display look cloudy and worn out. Plastic also becomes dull after repeated use and can lose its smooth feel. Another problem is that plastic bends. While flexibility can be useful in some situations, it isn't ideal for a touchscreen. A flexible surface can reduce accuracy and make the display feel less premium. Engineers needed something that stayed flat, resisted scratches, and remained crystal clear after years of everyday use. Glass turned out to be the perfect candidate. When people hear the word glass, they usually think about how easily it can break. But breaking isn't the whole story. Glass has several remarkable properties that make it ideal for electronic displays. First, it's incredibly transparent. High-quality glass allows light from the display to pass through with very little distortion, making colors appear bright and vibrant. Second, glass has a naturally smooth surface. Your finger glides effortlessly across it, creating the satisfying feel we've all become accustomed to when using smartphones. Third, glass is highly resistant to scratches. While it's not impossible to scratch, it's much harder than plastic. Keys and coins usually won't damage it because they're softer than the glass itself. Glass is also chemically stable. It doesn't yellow over time like many plastics can, meaning your screen stays clear for years. These advantages made glass an obvious choice, if only engineers could solve its biggest flaw. Ordinary window glass would never survive everyday smartphone use. Drop your phone once, and the screen would likely crack immediately. Scientists needed to reinvent glass. One of the biggest breakthroughs came through a process called chemical strengthening. Instead of simply making the glass thicker, manufacturers actually changed the structure of its surface. The glass is placed into a bath of extremely hot molten salt containing potassium ions. During this process, smaller sodium ions inside the glass are replaced by larger potassium ions. Those larger ions become tightly packed together, squeezing the surface into a state of compression. Think of it like compressing a spring. The surface becomes much harder for cracks to start forming because the glass is already under constant compression. This invisible layer dramatically increases durability without making the screen noticeably thicker. Why touch screens? Love glass. Modern smartphones rely on something called a capacitive touch screen. Your finger naturally conducts electricity. When you touch the glass, it slightly changes the electrical field beneath the surface. Sensors detect these tiny electrical changes and instantly determine exactly where you're touching. Glass is an excellent material for this system because it's an electrical insulator. It protects the sensitive electronics underneath while allowing the touchscreen to accurately detect your finger. Plastic can interfere with this precision, especially after becoming scratched or worn. The rigid surface of glass also keeps the sensor layer perfectly aligned, helping maintain accurate touch detection. Without glass, today's smooth, responsive touchscreens wouldn't feel nearly as precise. Will glass ever be replaced? Researchers are developing new materials, including transparent ceramics, self-healing surfaces, and advanced composites that combine the strengths of glass and plastic. While these innovations show promise, none have yet matched strengthened glass's balance of clarity, durability, affordability, and ease of manufacturing. For now, glass remains the best choice for smartphone screens. It's easy to think of your phone screen as just another piece of glass, but it's actually one of the most advanced materials you use every single day. Behind that smooth surface lies decades of chemistry, engineering, and innovation. So the next time you swipe, tap, or watch a video on your phone, remember that you're interacting with a material that has been carefully engineered at the atomic level. What looks like ordinary glass is anything but ordinary. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.